Well, good morning. Quickie little project this morning. I've had some inquiries about rebuilding Hornady 366s, and I've done, 3 or 4 for customers, and I got one in today, and I've got a couple other inquiries that I've been asked about questions, so I thought I'd try and answer part of them here. Now, this is a press that I've opened up the packaging, but I have not taken it out yet. The customer sent me pictures of it, and I said it was going to be good for an upgrade. And the intent is we're going to do an auto index conversion and a swing out wad guide conversion. And then I'm going to go through and I want to make this press as close to new as I can make it without getting into completely replacing all the parts. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox it. I'll give you my initial impressions and kind of go over what I plan on doing with it. And that may change as it goes along, but this will kind of give an idea and maybe answer some questions about some of the things that I do when we do one of these conversions, or we'll call it a rebuild type of thing. So let me just bring the camera down a little bit so you can see what's going on, and I'll give you my thoughts. We'll get it up on the bench. All right. Well, it came packaged, and it was packaged pretty well. He found a box for it to go into and everything. Now, this press has been repainted, and I had not realized that. We may do something there as it goes along. Let's see if we can get it out of the box and get it out of the bench so we've got a better look at it. So that is definitely not original colors. So we're going to get it out here. We're going to put it back together again, and take a look at it, see just what kind of condition it's in. So we've got some packaging here, packaged relatively well. Actually, it was packaged really well, otherwise it would have been beat up a little bit. So we do have a couple of nuts and bolts here floating around loose, at least one it looks like. Nut and bolt, and we've got the original handle. And that's our contents, it looks like. So we'll get this out of the way. He kind of asked if I could send his box back if it was convenient, and we'll see. That's probably not going to go back in that box, but let's see what we got. We'll worry about that later. Like I say, it's been repainted. Now, when I do the auto advance conversion on these, before we start putting it back together, this will be machined off of here because we need clearance for the shells to drop on through and the clearance for the chute in there. And then I add my swing out wad guide carrier back in here, and I mechanically fasten and then epoxy a part back in. So that's the base of it. The upper part is going to sit up here, right there like that, and it will set down. Yeah, we're probably going to make some changes to the way this is, the coloring of this and the way it's done. We want it to look a little bit nicer maybe than what we've got right now. And this machine has been worked fairly heavily at some point. A lot of little things have been changed. I see our little tray is cracked out here, which I hope that may very well have happened in shipping. And I don't have a replacement for that, but that's something that may or may not be available. Now this, well, let me get it bolted together. Make sure we got all our pieces and parts here. The nut and bolt that were floating around loose were this one for the sizing station. These will go in from the bottom. These are pivot bolts here. Let's see, those are the mounting bolts. What do we got here? This is not ringing a bell with me. It goes on here someplace. Well, we'll figure out where that goes here directly. Let's go ahead and flip it on its back so that we can bolt the base on. and this may be a mistake. We don't want to tighten these down all the way. I think we have to lift the shell plate back up to get the arms in position. I think. Oh, maybe not. Bolt that locks our handle in position there. That's what that extra bolt is. The main functioning components look to be in pretty good shape. The little things that could have been replaced, like the primer release here, the crimp starters and those kind of thing. The dies themselves are in pretty ragged shape. There's quite a bit of corrosion on them, and we'll probably clean them up and run them through the bluing tanks, make them look a little bit nicer. Now on dies, I'm not going to do a tremendous amount as far as polishing dies out and reworking them, because unless they're just really in terrible condition, why, they're going to let's see, we've got no shell tension at all on there. That's been released. Unless they're in just absolutely terrible condition, why, I don't want to go in there and start polishing them and cleaning them up and changing dimensions on them. So for the most part, we're going to leave those the way they are. Now, he didn't send me his shell tubes, which I knew he wasn't going to. We talked about it. And that's all well and fine. And our handle should go on just like that. Now we've got a hole in the handle. I don't remember that on any of my other presses or any of the other ones that I've seen. That goes on there like that. That will lock it in position, and then that locks everything in position. Now on these earlier presses, where our main pivot shaft through here, they were originally done with they were just drilled, and they had a roll pin that held them in place, that held these pivot arms in place. When you take them out, you can drive that pin normally through one more time and then put a roll pin in. After that, if you try and disassemble them, you've got hardened roll pins in there that you really can't do anything with. They can be gotten out of there, but it's more of a hassle than it's worth. Now this one I see has the shut off for the shell, or for the powder and the shot. Doesn't look like they're aligned properly here. Let's get this. This assembly should lift off. Yeah, this has had something done to it here. Come on. whole assembly should lift right off of there like that. So this was an option, the shell and powder shutoffs here. And these are all whacked up out of position. Well, we're not assembled right here. Anyway, we'll take care of all of that. But it's going to be a decent base to build off of. All the parts are here for the most part. It's not in terribly bad shape. We'll have to, the tension's not even close to being right, which will have this all apart anyway. So other than oddball paint, and I couldn't tell that from the pictures, that's a little bit odd, but it has been disassembled, repainted, all that good stuff. So we'll look it over and start working it. On the conversion, we're going to replace this bottom tray with our chute. Of course, we'll drill it for dropping our shells out, like I've done on the previous ones, and I'll link up there in the right-hand corner to show the previous videos that I've done on these. And we're going to follow the same basic procedure. Now, when I originally rebuilt mine, I added a alignment screw through here and machined it for the primer seater assembly. I stopped doing that. I didn't like that idea. It didn't work as well as I anticipated it would. So we're not doing that, but we'll have the swing out wad guide, which means we change all this assembly, change and modify. Like I say, we'll do the auto advance. We do the new style pawl. They had two styles of pawls on these for the auto advance. The early ones had a hook that hooked on the back of the plate, and it drug your shell around. That was kind of an inferior design by Hornady. They changed it later to a little square pawl that pushes it, and that's the one I install. Now, some of these parts are still available from Hornady or Hornady distributors. At one time, they offered the conversion to convert these over to auto advance. I don't know about the swing out wad guide assembly though, because the casting was different. They had the swing out wad guide assembly. The swing out wad guide assembly was integral to the base. So they changed the casting after that, where now to convert them, I add my extra little piece in there that does the same thing. It's just that it's an add-on. Just like the auto advance mechanism itself was an add-on. On the later machines, they modified the base casting to where it had the mounting brackets for that, where the retrofit kit that they offered, and mine is basically a copy of that retrofit kit, bolts to the bottom of that base casting. So that's the differences between them. Eject assembly was cast into this. There again, there was a modification to the base casting. There was a modification of the base casting right in here, so the eject assembly had a little ridge cast in there, and it would automatically eject into the ejection hole that goes in here. So otherwise, these presses virtually last forever if they're taken care of. Let's see, what do we have? Not as it should be. Our shell plate's got no alignment there. So we've got complete travel, everything works. So yeah, I speculate we'll probably, and everything's loose. This machine has been, I don't know what they've done to it. But anyway, it'll be a good candidate. We'll rebuild it and go through it. So I'm not going to take any more of these projects in until I finish this one. I want this one done, and then I'll show some completed fixtures, and we'll update this video with that completed assembly, and I'll set it up. We'll run it the whole 9 yards, and then we'll go on a machine by machine basis, just exactly what we're going to spend on them. You know, I've got a base price that I'm charging for these, and this one I think I've already quoted a little bit less than I probably should have, but that's part of the game here. I'm not upset about that, but we'll go through and I'll kind of dial in the procedures. We'll see before and after. You know, we're looking at rusted out die bodies here. Main shafts are in pretty good shape. You know, I doubt that we're going to change those. You see after a while they will wear fairly substantially, although they're still functional, but they're a little bit looser through there. And the same way with this main shaft. Now they just rotate in the base casting itself, and it works fine. This one is still relatively tight. There's a little bit of play there, but nothing that's really a concern. So that's where we're at with it. I don't know how much of the process I'll show, as far as actually machining this one out, because we've already done that in the previous videos. And when we're done, well, we'll show you the end result, and you can decide for yourself if it's something you want to invest in. I tend to prefer these machines. They're a good solid machine. In the shotgun world, I think they're worth upgrading. Anyway, I'll bring you back once we've got at least quite a bit of progress on this, or when it's done, and we'll show you the end result.